A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, where somehow Boston accents still exist, old Billy Burr made his debut on The Mandalorian. Hello and welcome to Ignore the Bell. My name is Nathan,
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Luke.
and we are going to do a review and a discussion of episode 6 of The Mandalorian, The Prisoner. So, uh, we do have a sponsor for today's episode. Our sponsor for today is Security Mullet Droids. So here's the thing. They are all business in the front and it's all party in the back. Up front, these droids are invincible, but behind them, they've got no armor at all. They're just ready to go. Woo! Nothing business going on back there. Yeah, Security Mullet Droids. Get yours today. They're very stylish.
Absolutely.
Especially back in like the 80s. Very, very stylish.
Yeah.
Which, according to Chapter 5, this is where this series
That's right.
takes place.
That's right. Yeah.
Yes. No, those droids are absolutely fantastic as long as you've got them pointed the right way.
That's right.
If anybody sneaks up behind them, they're done for.
That's critical.
But yeah, just keep them against a wall or something. It'll be fine.
And I think that it'd probably be the cheaper option because, I mean, you only have to pay for, like, good armor in the front, and then it's cheaper because only half of the droid is actually, like, expensive.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. Yeah, so Security Mullet Droids, get yours today. All right, we will save everything else for the actual discussion. I hope you enjoy, folks.
Oh man, I wish this discussion could go on forever.
Ignore the bell. We're gonna keep going, people.
All right, we are talking episode 6, The Prisoner of the Mandalorian. So I have to say at the very beginning that I probably need to recuse myself from this discussion because I have a conflict of interest. Bill Burr is my absolute favorite comedian, and he has been for, I would say, probably the last 7 years or so. I think 2012 is when I first started listening to his stuff. And I have listened to literally hundreds of hours of his podcast. So I can't be objective when it comes to Bill Burr. As far as I'm concerned, he makes everything better. And I mean, at least like coming off of episodes 4 and 5, that I think you could say, hey, this episode's a lot better. And I'm going to say, and it's all because of Bill Burr. I find him to be incredibly entertaining, and it's fun having him on this episode. But at the same time, I started watching it and I immediately said, I can't be objective. Uh-oh. And I'm pretty good about being objective. But I've got some criticisms with the episode, but it is an interesting one because we do have such a big cast of characters in this compared to every other episode.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it's sort of a heist episode.
Yeah.
And then with that twist that, oh, who could possibly see this twist coming when, why on earth would Mando trust anybody at this point?
Right.
Yeah.
He continues to trust people, even though, like, before he even gets on the ship with all of these people, then, there's a lot of hostility. And then it's like, okay, I'm going to isolate myself with these people and go into a really dangerous situation, all to earn a little bit of money.
Right. Yeah. I don't quite understand his thought process there unless he was really hard on cash.
Why is he always so hard up for cash? Why doesn't he just, I don't know. He's a bounty hunter, and I'm like, can't he use his skills in some other way? Why doesn't he just rob some jerk?
Yeah.
I also don't understand why they just throw him in the prison cell. I guess they don't know about the bounty on him.
That was there was so much with that this episode, as far as the ultimate the stakes involved in this by the end of it, then you're just like, what, everybody's safe? Like, no one gets killed?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was kind of disappointed they showed them all in the prison cell. Like,
I did think that it was interesting though, because we're seeing Mando. We get this discussion throughout the episode, where basically they're saying that like he's gotten soft, and the implication is that because of Baby Yoda, then that's why he started to get soft. And so I do kind of like that it does bring that back and says, yeah, he actually is kind of getting soft.
But even if he's the one getting soft, why would they go to such elaborate lengths to put him into this cell instead of just killing him? It's what it felt so much like a kid's show where it's like nobody can possibly die. And it was like all of the stuff that people criticized about Game of Thrones for a while there, of unless you see a character literally die on screen and take their last breath, and then the camera lingers on them for a while to make sure that like they don't somehow revive, then that character's not dead. That's what this episode was. It's just like, oh yeah, he killed that one, and he killed that one too, and he killed that one too. Oh, nobody's actually dead. So this entire episode, by the end of it, what difference did it make to the overall plot? Episodes 4, 5, and 6, you could remove all of them from the season and it changes nothing because these characters are still alive.
Right.
Yeah. And I can't believe that there's only 2 episodes left. Like, I'm like, where are we even going?
Yeah, I do think though, and I don't think that I will get much argument from you guys. This is the best of the standalone chapters of this series.
Yes. Yeah. Out of episodes 4, 5, and 6, this is clearly the best.
Yes.
I would say one of the reasons why I think this is the best, and I did notice this when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty fun because it's in space. Isn't that right where Star Wars should be? Because if you look at because the other one, that's what I hated about episode 4. I think that's why I hate episodes 4 so much, is it looks nothing like Star Wars. It looks literally like an episode of Xena Warrior Princess, where like you don't even have Star Wars technology. You're just in this pre-industrial village where they're farming.
Except for that the little cart thing that's hovering.
Yeah, they've got like a hovering cart and a weird droid thing, and then you do get the AT-ST that shows up. But that's totally different than being on spaceships and going to different like spaceports, and then you've got this transport ship that they're breaking into, and then you've got X-Wing fighters that show up, and then I'm like, oh, this looks like Star Wars. But compared to episodes 4 and 5, because 5, it was nothing. It was... 5 was far and away the most forgettable episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke, did you have anything in particular that you wanted to mention about Chapter 5?
Pretty much nothing other than that it's easily the worst episode.
I think that speaks volumes. That there's nothing really to say about it.
It's a nothing episode.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question for you, Luke. Do you have anything to say about Disney Plus?
Oh my goodness! Like, it was horrible. They were like, it wasn't working for like a long time. Like, I could go in and like see everything, but when I click an episode or a movie, it just comes up with some error, and I was just like, oh, okay. So then I contacted
error code 83 because I've seen that one a number of
It
times.
said no error code. It just said like,
the error code was no error code.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay. So then I contacted them, and they're just like, well, I talked to this one guy for like quite a while. We were trying to figure out what it was that was the issue, because it seems to be just my house. Like, but Netflix was still working and all this. So like, but Disney Plus would work at someone else's house, but not my house. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is even going on right now? So then they're like, all right, we got it fixed. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. And then like for a few days I kept checking, and I'm like, well, it's not fixed. And then like right when I was about to contact them, it was just like it started working. And I was just like, okay, well, at least I didn't have to contact them again, because that would have really sucked.
But that was like a week, right?
Yeah, that was like pretty much. Yeah, I think a week. And so I was just like, how are you having this many problems? Like,
this no error code sounds like they're trying to use the Force on you. There is no error. There is no error code. You're like, there's an error with this. No error code. Everything is fine. So that's why, Luke was not on the last podcast. So Tyler, did you want to jump in there? It looked like you had something to say.
Well, I did also want to ask Luke. Dave Filoni was pretty much completely responsible for the last episode, which, in my opinion, was the absolute worst of this series so far, including that horrible explosion at the beginning.
That was really bad.
It was so bad.
Yeah. I do think that like he is somewhat like, well, definitely like a lot of that episode is him, but at the same time, I still don't have like, I don't know, my opinion doesn't really change of him.
See, because we essentially said that episode 5 felt like a cartoon, and you know, Dave Filoni is known for working on these animated series, so
yeah.
I'm wondering if you think that is true, that some of that is seeping into his live action work.
Yeah, and I definitely think so. And even from like episode 1, there was parts where it was like, yeah, that kind of like feels a little like it should be in a cartoon, like mostly when they're like riding those like dinosaur things. It's like, okay, this very much looks like it's like straight out of a Clone Wars episode. Well, it kind of is. But so I think that their main goal with this is just trying to get him more comfortable in making live action, especially because he's the only one who's directed 2 of these episodes. And
that can't be a goal. That's not what you do.
Yeah, and I think that is like what they're doing though, because like I think like a lot of people really like the Clone Wars, and like they're a lot more mixed on Star Wars Rebels, but for the most part I think it's like generally good feelings, and they like what he does. But I don't know if like I don't really know why we need him in the director's chair. I don't know why we don't just make him a writer.
Yeah. So my final question then is, do you want to see more live action stuff done by Dave Filoni, either written or directed?
I would like to see him write something.
Okay.
And see where that goes. Or even if he's just like more like an executive producer and kind of is like, this is where we're going with it, and then has like a team of writers to help get there. Like, I think that would work really well. Because I think, well, I mean, as I said, he did like learn from George Lucas for the most part. And I think that's really clear because he's definitely more of like a visionary kind of guy, like George Lucas, I think, rather than like, alrighty, let's make great characters and do this and this. Like, I mean, eventually, like, he does have some good characters written, but like, I think that he's definitely more of like, he's looking at the large picture and he needs some people to help with like some of the smaller things so that way they can get there.
Yeah, that is definitely not the person that you want to be the director then.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And it's hard to tell. I mean, I do think it's hard to tell how much of this is Dave Filoni and how much of this is the influence of Disney executives, because it sure feels like these standalone episodes were commissioned by Disney, because they don't fit into the overall story arc. And
I really hope that we're done with these standalone.
I would be shocked if we're not. Because and I have
well, I mean, even in season 2, which apparently is already filming, it is in production.
Well, season 2 is going to have them again, but what it's going to be is, if this is following the pattern of most television now, then typically the first 2 episodes of a season fit into the overall story arc, and then you get into these little standalones, and then the last 2 fit into the overall story arc, and then kind of sandwich in between as you have all of the crap. So it ends up just being a crap sandwich of television, which is what this feels like, because the actual middle is no good. But this one is, I think we can all agree, and I think everybody, I think there is a general consensus that everybody likes episode 6 a lot more than episodes 4 and 5. And I do think there's something to be said for the fact that because it's set in space, it feels more in tune with what Star Wars should be. And I like the idea of The Mandalorian being a space western.
Yeah.
Right? I do like that, but there should still be some space involved. It shouldn't just be, him in these environments in which there is no technology. Because to me, that's the big issue with both episodes 4 and 5, is that you're not really dealing with any kind of Star Wars technology.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just to just to clarify, so chapter 1 on IMDb rated 8.7, chapter 2 8.8, chapter 3 9.2. All of this is basically following like our opinions of them, more or less.
IMDb is just watching our podcast.
Yeah. Chapter 4, 7.8. Chapter 5, 7.8. I'm honestly surprised that those two are as high as they are.
Me too. That's really high.
But at least they're lower than the previous 3 episodes. And then chapter 6 is 8.9. So again,
wow. That's
sorry, Nathan, I think you cut out there for a moment.
Yeah.
Or that might have been me. But yeah, no, it is. It's good to see that we are in the general consensus with our opinions on these episodes.
Yeah, no, that is. I mean, I agree with you though, Tyler. It's surprising that episodes 4 and 5 are rated as high as they are. But there's a lot of people though who, and this is where my tolerance for mainstream blockbuster entertainment is very, very low. There's a lot of people where it does not matter what it is, they're like sycophantic. They'll just applaud and smile and everything is great.
Yeah.
Right?
10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10
That's
out of
right.
10. It's like,
That's
no!
Right. Yeah, it's like, no.
Everything can be perfect.
No, we can demand, excellence from something like this. And I definitely think that when you're dealing with something that has not only the budget but the background of the Star Wars universe, it's shocking that they can screw it up. Like, it's really shocking to me, because world building is, I find as a writer that world building is one of the toughest parts of writing, because you can't just do info dumps. You can't just, because that's no fun. And you also can't get too into the minutia of, all of your world building. But if you don't do a good enough job in establishing how big this world is and the diversity of the, species and characters and settings and all of that, then it doesn't feel like a fully immersive world. And so I'm like, Star Wars has done such a great job in world building. And then they're like, we're going to spend an entire episode on Tatooine. We're going to spend an entire episode in some rice paddy village that doesn't even look like Star Wars for no reason at all. And and
so,
it just feels like they're making the world smaller. Like, just like, and it's so frustrating. Like, at least in like the first episode, I was like, all right, it's another desert planet, but at least it's somewhat different of terrain than it has been in Star Wars before. And then now they're just like, oh yeah, we're just on Tatooine now. And I'm like, I liked when they were doing at least something new, but I mean,
can I? Yeah. I want to throw an idea out here, and then we'll get into like really discussing the bulk of this episode. But think about, you guys have all seen John Wick Chapter 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. Think about John Wick Chapter 3. He's got all the assassins in the world coming after him. That was a single film that has not had the runtime that we've had with The Mandalorian. Which one is better, John Wick Chapter 3 or The Mandalorian?
Yeah, John Wick Chapter 3.
Right? Like, it's incredible. It's so exciting from beginning to end, and you have so many different settings, amazing action sequences. There's stakes throughout the entire thing. It's exciting. And then I'm like, this show should have already had all of this world building, already established all of these bounty hunters, already had all these different planets that you can get to. You can be in different environments. You can be underwater. You can be in space. You can go from planet to planet. You can do all of this. Like John Wick Chapter 3, he went to a desert. He's in a city. You know what I mean? He's riding on horseback at one point. Like he's in this like glass building where it's just all these glass walls and like falling from one floor to the other. The Mandalorian's like, can we make any setting exciting? No. Like, you've got the Star Wars universe and you're blowing it. How is this possible?
Yeah, again, even when they go back to Tatooine, they take out all the good parts of it. The cantina is completely empty. There's nobody on the streets. I'm just like, you just couldn't afford extras, right? Like, there's no reason that this should be empty like this.
Like,
it's
just like, I don't know. It's like all of new Star Wars now is just like, we need a new planet that these characters can be on. I'm thinking for the terrain, we should just make it, I'm thinking desert. And then everyone is just like, yeah, that's a really great idea. I think we should go with a desert. And then they keep doing it over and over again and just like renaming the planet. And I'm like, you can make literally any terrain you want. Why are you going with desert constantly? Like, it's not very exciting.
I would love for them to go to like a planet like Zootopia. You know, where it's just got like a bunch of different environments that are really, really close together, and you can have these fight scenes that go from, you know, from like a rainforest to the Arctic in like that, like, you know, just throw somebody through a window in a different environment. That would be so cool.
And like there was a planet like that in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, where it wasn't like there was just different terrains all really close to each other. It's just like that's how much the temperature, like that's just how much the weather changes. Like it's just constantly changing, and like really fast. So I'm like, oh well, that's really cool. And then I'm like, yet now we can't get past either a desert. Like literally the only planets we've seen so far is like a desert and that like old like industrial revolution kind of planet, whatever, wherever that was. And like, why is that the only two planets we have gotten? Like, I mean, I know that all the deserts are different, but like,
well, we did in the first episode we did get that ice planet.
Oh right, and
that was cool. I like that. With like
that was
the
cool.
Giant sea creatures that were under the ice. Like that was fun. I liked that.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that planet. So, like, and not to say that it was bad. I'm just saying they were like not there at all for like, unless like it was like the 3 minutes they were there.
Right. Okay, I just want to mention something about the budget, and then let's try to speed through the episode. So, just as a point of comparison, the estimated budget for The Mandalorian is approximately $15 million per episode. $15 million per episode. Give me $15 million, and even though I have not directed anything like this, I guarantee you I could do a better job than what we had in multiple episodes. I can't do a better job than episodes 1, 2, and 3. I will give you that. But 4 and 5 for sure, I can beat that.
That
$15 million?
That equates to like 2 million, or what is it? 2 million per minute then?
Yeah, something like that.
Or I guess $500,000 per minute?
Yeah, $500,000 per minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is insane.
Yeah. So it ends up being something like $120 million for the season. John Wick Chapter 3 had a budget of $75 million. So 120 million to 75 million, and this isn't even close to what you get, which is like, it proves once again that, you know, having a big budget with a team who does not really have a good vision for this and doesn't understand how to execute, how to get there to be stakes and suspense and everything feels meaningful. If you can't execute on that level, then a budget's not going to save you. All right. So like I say, I want to try to speed through the actual plot of this episode. So it starts out, decently well, I think, where you don't get, compared to what we had with episode 5, you don't have some stupid intro. It immediately gets into the plot of this episode. Because episode 5, I think that's part of the issue with the intro, is it's just, you've got this, okay, all of a sudden he's in a space chase with this other bounty hunter, and you're like, where did this come from? And then it's over within seconds, and then you're like, dope, that was cool. Like, I don't know what they thought how we were gonna respond to this, but at least this one, it starts where I think it should start. He arrives, he meets this group of characters, you find out what's going to happen, and then you're like, oh, I understand where we're going with this episode.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really great because, again, compared to Chapter 5, then we get him, like, this is like a maintenance sort of place, like they're looking after his ship, they're kind of doing some repairs. But we don't get, this whole interaction with a mechanic where he's like, yeah, I think I can pay you this, and, maybe you can fix this and that. But no, we don't need to get into all that technical stuff. We understand ship lands, he's refueling or whatever. Like, we don't need all the details about it. And he's just immediately into, trying to get this next job. And that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and then you start to meet all of these characters he's going to be doing this heist with, and a couple of them are pretty hostile to him, but ultimately he's going to go for it, right? And so I don't know if you've got thoughts on this cast of characters that we have in this episode.
I mean, I don't know who that one guy is. What's his name? Wayfair. Oh, he's terrible. Just I don't like him at all.
Which one is that?
Mayfeld.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I do actually really like all the characters. I like how we get to know them in nonverbal ways. We don't say, yeah, this is the guy who, like, I don't know, just shoots first, asks questions later. Like, we don't get explanations like that. The closest we get is jokingly about Burr, which is just, he's the muscle, if you can believe it. And like, I like that. I think that's fun. That's the closest that we get to like a direct statement about who these characters are.
Yeah.
I mean, with Mayfield, then you have the comment about him being an Imperial sharpshooter, like a former Imperial sharpshooter. And I forget exactly what Mando says, but something like, impressive. And it's like, hey, I wasn't a stormtrooper, wise ass.
Yeah.
Like I actually could aim because, that was great. I mean, but like I say, I do feel like I have to recuse myself because I don't know how other people perceive Bill Burr. I have no idea.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say is it was a little distracting, and I've had this on a few different episodes, where it's like if you really you recognize the actor, then you're just like, oh yeah, it's that guy. And, like, it just doesn't
Bill
fit
Burr
in Star Wars.
Old Billy Blaster.
I don't know. I have very mixed feelings on all these characters. Like Mayfield felt like just like kind of like the character from Chapter 5 just continued, like if he was like actually a good bounty hunter, and I was just like, okay, but that's not super exciting. I thought the gun on his like backpack or whatever was really cool, but and yeah, like that red guy, I was just like, he's okay, and pretty much that's my feelings on all of them. Actually, is just they're okay, but like, I mean, good enough for me to not be like, this is terrible, but at the same time, I'm just like, I mean, they're not the best, but I'll take them.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite parts of this episode, possibly my absolute favorite, is when whatever the woman's name is, what is it? Xian? Yeah, I know. I'm like looking over the.
I think that's right. Yeah, that's their species.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's Xian. Like I'm looking at IMDb, and I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, but when she, brings the knife to Mando's throat, and he doesn't flinch at all, I'm like, yeah, that's great. And then later on, then we get Bill Burr holding Baby Yoda, and he pretends to drop it, and Mando flinches, and I'm like, yes, this is perfect. That is like, that was so well done.
Yeah, you're right, Tyler. That is, I didn't catch that. That's great because he cares more for Baby Yoda and taking care of Baby Yoda than he really does. Like, he's not that concerned with his own safety, but oh no, I'm really concerned about the safety of this Baby Yoda. Yeah. That's a good point. That is well done. Yeah. So you get this weird thing with, I think it's Q90 or something like that, the droid, and I don't know if you guys are familiar. Q90, is that the droid's name?
I think the droid's name is Zero.
Okay, I guess they end up calling him Zero. And he's played by, I forget the actor's name, but he's from the IT crowd.
Yes, Richard Ayoade.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce his last name either, but yeah. So he's from the IT crowd, and so you have this weird, I don't know. It's not exactly a plot device, but it seems like a plot device until you realize that the crew that Mando is working with have schemed to get him to go to this transport ship, this prisoner transport ship, but this whole idea of it's too involved, it's too complicated of a maneuver for somebody like Mando. You need a droid to get the ship to land in such a way, and then it's going to scramble the security system and everything else on the transport ship, and it's just occupied by droids. And so it's all this way of trying to get him onto the transport ship, and he has less control.
Right. Yeah, no, I know. It is a little awkward. I also hate the little holographic image that they show of the maneuver. I'm just like, what is that? Like,
there was that, and I don't understand what the significance was supposed to be. I mean, I do understand it, but it didn't make much sense to me. Of Zero trying to figure out what this holographic message from Carl Weathers is and why it's so significant, and then Zero's telling them as they're about to get like captured or killed, he's like, hey guys, I found something. Why does this matter at all? Like, and it doesn't, and even when, and going back to before they arrive on the transport ship, when they're actually just traveling, then like they have this stupid discussion, and this is one of the things that I hated about this episode, because it's a continuation of things that have irritated me. This obsession that every character suddenly has with trying to see Mando's face.
Like, that was really annoying this episode. I'm like, can we please stop with that? Like, why do you just constantly need to be like, every episode be like, oh, don't forget, guys, his helmet is really important. Like, it's
That's
just
exactly
like,
what it feels like.
and I'm like, okay, but you don't need to like scream that in my face every episode.
No, it's like the dude's wearing a helmet all the time. We get it.
Like, it's just,
and
like...
it was also really awkward with Xi'an or whatever. I mean, it's like, oh, have you ever seen his face? A lady never tells, and I'm just like, so wait, did she or did she not? Like, I'm just, I don't get it.
Ooh, innuendo.
And like,
it certainly seemed like in episode 4 that Mando has never been involved with a woman like that. So, just, I don't know. Involved, as in taking off his helmet in front of her.
And like, I don't get why it's like every single character in this like universe is just like, someone is wearing a helmet. This is very interesting. You've never taken it off before.
Has this ever been a thing? Like, this is a universe in which so many people wear helmets all the time. Stormtroopers wear helmets all the freaking time. And then you've got like multiple characters, like Darth Vader amongst others, who wear helmets all the time. And you never have like Darth Vader, walking down some kind of corridor on the Death Star, and you see a couple of guys going, I heard he never takes the helmet off. You know what I mean? Like, you never get comments like that. And then on this, like, and then it turned into, I don't know, I felt like I was watching Mexican wrestling, like it was lucha libre wrestling, where it's like, my goal is to unmask you. Where it's got this like Berg character fighting Mando, and it's like, I need to see your face, and I'm like, what the hell is this Joker and Batman all of a sudden? Like, I need to like get your identity out there. We already know who he is. He's Mando. It doesn't matter. I don't understand this obsession that the show is insisting upon with showing, like, pointing out that it doesn't. So I hated that about this episode. But in their fight for this, then it ends up opening up the secret hatch, and then you just have Baby Yoda just standing there, and like, it's such a great moment to me because it pinpoints what's going wrong with the show. Even as an audience member, you go, oh yeah, there's the most interesting creature in the galaxy on this ship, which we totally forgot about. Like, and then nobody, like, none of this cast of characters who presumably are pretty tied into the black market and the underground and bounty hunters and all of that, they have no clue that this is some kind of valuable creature. Like, how have the rumors not gotten out there? I cannot imagine that in a universe of, thieves and backstabbers and bounty hunters, that they've got such a high code of honor that nobody's leaking this information, that there's this small little green creature and we don't quite know what it is, and Mando has it and it's incredibly valuable. How is that not leaked to everyone involved in the underground in this galaxy? I don't get it.
I thought it was, and then it's just like,
but then nobody seems to know.
Yeah, exactly. And
it didn't bother much. It seems like this particular band is I don't know, they're so off the radar, like, that they don't want to be, like, in contact with other people. So, like, I guess it doesn't bother me too much that way, and that, like, I don't know how, well, I guess it has been a while since the series started. Yeah, never mind. If this had been, like, episode 4, then I think that it would have been like, yeah, all right, fine, like, they haven't heard by now. But yeah, by this point,
several weeks.
Yeah, I was going to say, because
episode 4, he was there for a while.
Yeah, so that's stupid. Episode 4 is throwing things off again.
And
I don't know. So they see the Baby Yoda creature and they don't really make anything of it other than, oh, what is this? Is this a pet? Right. But anyway, so they arrive on the transport ship. They get on there. Mando has no idea what they're supposed to be retrieving. And then you have the really strange fight that they have in the, operations center in that room, where you've got
a flamethrower to the face. Like,
before we get to that, no, when they find the human on the ship, because remember, it's supposed to be just patrolled by droids, and then Mando is very, very concerned with this idea of, like, basically and we already know this, that he doesn't like droids, so he has no issue if you, like, destroy a bunch of droids on the ship. But then there's this person on there, and then they get into this big argument over what they're going to do with this guy. And I don't know, it just seemed like a really strange moment for me, because how was this a theme of the series? They've already established that one of the points of focus in the series is that Mando does not like droids, and we've kind of got a little bit of his backstory. So anytime he's going up against droids and we're like, yeah, I get it. Or anytime he doesn't want a droid flying his ship or working on his ship, it's like, I get it. And then you have this whole thing of, we can't kill people. And I'm like, yeah, but you do kill people.
Yeah. Like, that's your job. Like,
to capture kill, but yeah.
Yeah, I do think that it's something that this episode is very focused on, and as I said before, then I think it's supposed to be,
Mando
about
softening because of Baby Yoda. Okay. And maybe it is. It's just I'm not catching it. in part 'cause I'm not giving this show as much attention as I maybe was before, because I'm kind of giving up on this doing subtle things, because the last several episodes have just been completely unsubtle in what they're doing. Yeah, so maybe that's it. It's that Mando now does care about the sanctity of life, and he doesn't just want to easily,
Oh, your mic is not working right now.
No?
Yep.
Okay. Because of the sanctity of life, then, he's, because of the presence of Baby Yoda, then he now has a greater appreciation for it. Maybe that's what's happening. I think it needs to be clarified.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I think that that's what they're trying to do, but I do agree that it's, too sudden or too, just unclear.
But I mean, if he genuinely cares about protecting this Baby Yoda creature, then wouldn't it make him colder and more cruel to threats to the Baby Yoda creature?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that he was also just like, there's no point in killing this guy because that'll just get more heat on us.
That one I agree with.
Yeah.
I agree that
But
there
when
wasn't
he doesn't
any...
kill, when he doesn't kill the other bounty hunters, though, I'm like, why? Like,
Right.
These guys
That's exactly
could still come onto your ship and like do something like, and it seemed like they were like kind of like setting it up for like Baby Yoda would be in danger a lot more than he was at the end of the episode, not just again someone points a gun at him and then surprise, it wasn't the gunshot from his gun, it was someone else.
But I do love that Baby Yoda is like trying to use the Force.
And seemed pretty surprised. He's like, did I just do that?
Right, yeah. He's like, I think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that part I liked, but I was just like this is literally the third time where someone is standing there about to shoot Baby Yoda, and then the gunshot goes off, and we don't see them, like the person who actually shot, and I'm like, why? Why does this have to be in it?
I feel like they were trying to make us think that the droid shot, but I mean, I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I've just become accustomed to this at this point. But like, I didn't really see it as like, oh yeah, the droid totally shot. And it might also be partly because the droid has, no physicality in that moment.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I get that. Like, I wasn't like, oh, the droid shot there. Like, I was just like, okay, well, like, what is the point of even having this droid point the gun at Baby Yoda? We know he's not going to get shot by anyone. Like, and like, this has already happened. I'm like, this is like literally, it happens in 50% of episodes at this point where someone points a gun at Baby Yoda and gets shot by someone else who we don't see because they're just being hidden by something. And then it's like, oh, guess what? This person actually didn't kill Baby Yoda. I'm like, this isn't a surprise. Like,
yeah, but it didn't even make sense. The logic of this within the show did not make any sense to me. So Zero finds out saw that message from Carl Weathers and realized that this Baby Yoda creature is maybe incredibly valuable, but it wasn't even clear that that's what happened. But then he sees the Baby Yoda creature and then he's like, oh, curious. And then the droid's response then is, curious, I must kill this creature.
Yeah.
Why? Right. Why is he hunting it with this blaster rifle? I don't.
Yeah.
Did that make any sense? Like, can you guys explain to me what Zero was thinking of why he had to kill this thing?
No.
I don't like. I'm pretty sure it's more money if you bring in Baby Yoda alive. So I don't get why everybody is trying to kill Baby Yoda, because wouldn't you want him in alive because you get more money? Like,
and it wasn't even clear that he actually saw the full message. He did say, "Hey guys, like there's some kind of like thing." Like maybe he heard the whole thing, but even the whole message from Carl Weathers, which I guess maybe it did show that he did. But basically, bring the bounty directly to the, exactly, to the client. So then it's like, how does that say, kill Baby Yoda?
Yeah.
like how did those two things? that message, it still doesn't. So I don't know. It's just a baffling thing. Other than, oh, we'll just. It feels so much like writing by committee, and it's like, hey guys, don't forget we have to endanger Baby Yoda in every episode. And then it's like, well, Baby Yoda's not really doing anything in this episode, and it's like, get that droid to see the message, and then suddenly like stalk it with some kind of rifle on this ship, and it's like, wait, why is he trying to kill it? Because it'll be exciting for fans. They'll be like, no, don't kill Baby Yoda. And then, don't worry, Mando then gets to kill another droid. Yay, he loves killing droids. See how it fits? And it's like, not really.
Yeah, it is interesting that, he does kill the droid, but none of the others. The only person that ends up dying is the droid.
So... so Tyler, I think that you've figured it out that because of the presence of Baby Yoda, the Mando has a greater appreciation for life at this point. But from a pragmatic standpoint, how does it make any sense to individually capture and throw each one of these people in the same cell? How he's opening up that door again and again and putting in somebody else, and that other person who's already in there isn't charging him.
Okay, not to mention he does this all in under 20 minutes and escapes from prison in under 20 minutes because they say, oh yeah, the resistance is going to show up in 20 minutes, and he escapes from prison and captures all of them in under 20 minutes and escapes. Like, what?
Right.
Like,
it doesn't make any sense why, other than it's just.
I think it's under 15 minutes actually, because it took them like 5 minutes to find the prisoner.
Yeah, that's true. So like,
and I think the only reason why all three of them are in the same cell is because it ends up being a better visual. Because you get that surprise element of, oh, all three of them are still alive. But then when you say, okay, so that might be a cool visual, but think about it for 2 seconds. Does that make any sense? And it's like, no, it doesn't make any sense that he would throw all three of them in the same cell.
Yeah.
So then it's bad writing if it doesn't hold up to any level of scrutiny. Because even at the time that I'm like, he captured all three of them and put them all in the same cell.
Yeah, I guess I was just thinking, like, I don't know, that would be the only empty cell. It still doesn't make a lot of sense, but I don't know.
Why would it be the only empty cell?
I don't know. Apparently you don't transport prisoners until you fill up the entire ship.
The full ship, that's right. Maybe. I mean, the only thing that, and this is me being completely unobjective about this. I appreciate the fact that Bill Burr's character Mayfield is still alive in this universe, and I'm like, I hope that we get to see him again. But that's just completely selfish on my part, and that has nothing to do with Star Wars or The Mandalorian. It's just like, I like seeing him on screen.
Right. Yeah. So we do get, in my opinion, I absolutely love the fight sequences on the prisoner ship, though. I think that it's really, really awesome, with like the different lighting that they do, and like it's very reminiscent of Alien, right? And like of them being like chased down by this creature, like who is actually the Mandalorian.
I have a compliment, Tyler, for this.
I'm sorry,
but yes, but I hear you. Yeah.
It returns to the kind of action that I want out of this series, which is strategic and stealthy and all that, which I think is more in more in Mando's wheelhouse, considering that we've seen him fail in hand-to-hand combat so many times.
Yeah. Well, like, I did not like the fight scene between him and that big red guy. I was I thought that one. Yeah, me too. Like, I thought it was just like way too I guess cartoony. Because like the guy takes a flamethrower to the face. He like
and
gets
he likes
destroyed by this. Yeah.
I mean, he's all red, so I don't know. I guess his planet is like Mercury or something. I don't know. He comes from a planet where it's all fire and brimstone.
I mean, like,
That's what I'm figuring. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying that it's good. I'm just saying I think that's what it is.
and then how did that guy survive? Because he gets like smashed by this door, and then we get that weird, stupid reveal where he just like stands up with the door, and then a more revolving doors close on him, but he didn't die from that. He just gets hit by the doors, I guess.
I'm so
'Cause he's
glad
in
you
the
brought
cell
that
again.
up because
Like-
it made no sense. It was such a cartoonish moment.
I tried to rewatch it and like I don't know. We don't actually get very much of the doors closing. They only come like I don't know, like 25% of the way before it cuts. And but yeah, it's just like
Because it's a
I don't know.
cheap gimmick.
Yeah, I thought that it was going to be like really awesome and that we'd see his head like or like I don't know like his face like
course.
fall off or something.
And then
Um,
I thought at first, and I'm sure everybody thought this, oh, they're just trying to tone down the violence, but he's
Yeah.
definitely dead. And then we
Yeah,
realized,
that's what I
oh,
thought.
they weren't necessarily trying to tone down the violence. They just like,
Yeah.
they were faking us out. But it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. I don't know what this guy is supposed to be made of, like the organic composition of him, but a door that's moving at that level of force, no matter how strong you are, like your body can't withstand that. It just didn't make any sense to me. I didn't.
Yeah. And then another one closes on him, and it's like it's going to just hit him in the head, but it's like, no, he survived that too. Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
how? How did he survive that?
Yeah,
Like,
there had to be space in between the two door frames, I guess. And so, I don't know, it just slammed right in his. I'm trying to figure out like any way that it makes sense.
it's just like,
Um,
why don't you just make these people Sith? Because apparently they're unkillable. Would a lightsaber be able to penetrate this guy? Like,
That's a great point. No, a lightsaber, he would be like, ah, that tickles.
Yeah.
Ah. Yeah. But Tyler, I will say that I love Mando's fight sequences with the droids.
yeah.
I thought
Mhm.
those were great. His
Yeah.
fight sequence with Burr, with that red dude, were terrible. Like I hated
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
But with
Yeah.
the droids at the beginning and then at the end, how he like tries to get out of the prison cell,
Yeah.
like all of that, I thought was terrific and really well done. And
Yeah.
to some degree, him going after the other ones, it was pretty well done with the different lighting that you get.
Yeah.
And even just the fact that he isolates them using like all the doors and everything.
Yeah.
And goes after them one by one because clearly he can't take down all four at once, considering he can't even really take down Berg.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like that we're getting to see more of that strategy from him.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question for you guys. So, what is that woman with like the two different ponytails that are like fleshy ponytails? What species is that?
Twi'lek or Twi'lek, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's one of the two.
Okay, so now Luke, you probably will be able to answer this question. Have we seen in other Star Wars stuff male like members of the species?
Yeah.
Okay.
They was in Star Wars: The Clone Wars.
Okay, but that's it. Like, because it hasn't been any live action thing. Right?
I think it was also no. I don't think in live action anyway. We barely got any females of them in live action, actually.
Yeah.
that's true.
Well, I feel like I've seen them before in Star Wars.
There's one Jedi. I
Yeah.
think her name is Ayla Sakura.
Yeah,
Something.
and then there might have been like one or two in like the original trilogy and maybe in the sequel like trilogy. I don't really know.
But have they all been females?
Oh yeah, because one of them was in Jabba's palace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that they have all been females.
I gotta say, the fleshy ponytails, they look very, very feminine. And then when we had a male version of the species, it kind of made me uncomfortable. I was like, wait, I thought that meant that it was a woman. And then when like there's this like, like I'm a butch kind of guy, but
I mean, they even like his name is Quinn, and immediately then
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's a female. And then like he like stood up, and I'm like, wait a second, this
I
is not.
know. I was definitely like, okay, that's not like a female form of the species. That's just the
Yeah.
species itself. It was very strange, very strange.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
I don't know that it works in live action. Is all that I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right,
So-
so we end off this episode with Mando returning to the base to collect his money for the job that he did. And then and then he leaves, and then the
Dave Filoni comes in to kill the characters who are not as
Well-
interesting.
well, yeah, because the guy is like, oh, kill him, and then like Quinn laughs and whatever. They're getting a bomber ready to like go out and destroy Mando's ship, which I mean we know wouldn't work anyway. But honestly, when he said kill him, and then Quinn started laughing, I thought so much. I wanted this to happen, that he was going to kill Quinn. That this whole attempt was just to like,
Yeah.
I don't know, get Quinn and then kill him instantly. I don't know. I just thought that would be like poetic justice, like he
Yeah.
manages to escape without his
Also,
sister and then gets killed immediately.
Yeah. And then like I don't really get why the Mandalorian is okay with like basically like being responsible for killing all of these guys on this ship, even though he totally didn't have to. But when it's the other bounty hunters, he's like, no, I can't kill them. Like they're like, I have to have some sort of morality here. And then when he's leaving this place, he's just like, no, I left a tracker here, and now the resistance is going to come and blow you guys up, even though I could just leave. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm genuinely puzzled over this, and it doesn't make any sense with what we've had with this episode. So if the theme of this episode is something along the lines of, hey, we shouldn't just, easily take lives in this universe, that life has got value and it's precious. So then you get the New Republic that just says, there's a tracking beacon, kill everyone on this space station without even asking questions.
Yeah.
Like, without communicating with them, just kill them all. That's the New Republic?
Yeah.
Like, how does that fit, number one, with the rest of the episode?
Yeah.
And number two, like, how does that fit with anything that we know about the New Republic?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we don't know much about the New Republic, but it is clearly flawed because everything that we've seen sort of, just goes toward this idea of them, I don't know, just going in guns a-blazing, just eliminate everything related to the Empire and whatever. Like, even this prisoner ship, then I guess once the tracker went off, they would just have blown up the entire prisoner ship.
Like, does that make any sense? Like, that if they're prisoners, so if they're maybe valuable or members of the New Republic, then kill them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really get that either, and
it's not just you don't really get it. This is the stupidest thing we've seen in the show, and there's been multiple stupid things. Like, this points to like my big issue with The Last Jedi, where I pointed out, where I said, if this is what the Resistance stands for, then I think I'd rather have the Empire or the First Order, because all they want to do is they just want to collect taxes. They don't want to kill people. They want them alive so that way they can get money. But they're not actually interested in killing people in just such a cruel way. But with this, I'm just like, wait, you're just gonna like literally, like, to me, I don't see how this is anything other than murder. You're just gonna murder everyone on this space station because there's a beacon. You don't even know if that beacon is in the right place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, they did say, oh, they're preparing a bomber.
Yeah, so what? Because you've got 3 X-Wings coming at you. They didn't shoot. Like,
Yeah.
No, I know. It's very strange, because the one thing that we know about the New Republic, according to The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, is that they did not want to create an army. That's why the Resistance
what a peaceful people.
I know, right? So that's what I don't understand. Is this like all the before they decided that they don't need an army?
There is
Yeah.
no logic to be found here. Like, you're not going to find it. This is just stupid. It was designed to just, let's just end the episode with something exciting. Let's end it with an explosion. But Tyler, it's like what you had brought up before. I think we weren't recording at the time, but when you do little things like this, it's not just in the moment. It ends up having implications for the entire story of Star Wars, writ large. That everything from this comes out of this. You're like, okay, so if that's literally what we know then about the New Republic, this doesn't just swiftly end an episode. This then says that literally the Empire manages the galaxy better, and the First Order manages the galaxy better than these guys, because these guys are monsters.
Yeah.
No, I agree, and it is. I still don't really. I don't get how, like, where we are in the timeline. I think it's supposed to be like 5 years after
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And the Rebel Alliance has already formed the New Republic.
Yeah.
And gotten this incredibly advanced prisoner transport ship with all these amazing droids that are like laser proof from the front and everything. How did they get all this stuff like so quickly?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, it would have been like, I would have been fine if they were like, oh yeah, this is just the rebellion, but now they have done a lot more stuff because, there's no Empire, so like they can do pretty much whatever they want. But then it's just like, no, it's the New Republic, and I'm like, wait a second, like, this is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. What? Like, they already have the New Republic, and we're 5 years after Return of the Jedi? Like, okay.
Yeah, if it was the Resistance, I think that this would make a lot more sense. Mm-hmm. Because the Resistance is, trying to make sure that the First Order doesn't come up, and so they're just going to eliminate anything that comes up. Mm. And whether or not you agree with that, then I think that that's what they, are doing. But with it being the New Republic, where they supposedly don't want an army and all that, like, it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, I think, no matter how you look at it. And I don't understand. I continue to be puzzled by this show, because I don't think that you can have a franchise as valuable as Star Wars and have something that's got a budget of this level without consulting even casual fans. Right? Like, I'm saying, like, I am not a Star Wars obsessed person. Like, I have not read the books. I haven't watched the animated series or anything like that. But I watched this and I went, that doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Like, if I can figure it out and you guys are confirming, like, and you guys are more involved than I am in Star Wars, then I'm like, how did they not, like, they're using these things as throwaway lines. But they're not just throwaway lines of dialogue in this universe. If this is supposed to be cohesive, then they're failing again and again and again. Mm-hmm. And it's really frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is, I don't know, they're trying to thread the needle, and I don't know, they're using a rope.
Yeah, it's a fun visual. Because it is so clumsy and just ham-fisted. I mean, to give you guys a different example, then, like, George R.R. Martin, who writes A Song of Ice and Fire or Game of Thrones, then this is what he does, and it's because he got attacked by fans, by his own fans online, because at one point, then he has a horse that changes sex, where it was a mare and then it becomes a stallion, right? From like book 2 and then book 5, then he mentions it again, and he forgot the sex of the horse, if it was a male or a female. So then fans were like, what the hell, George? You already said that it was a female. So he's like, sorry, guys. It was a horse, from like book 2 to like book 5. And it was just like, it's so meaningless, and fans were concerned about that. And then the other thing too is that he had a character, and in a series that's, I think he's got the most named characters out of any book series ever, right? He's literally got hundreds of named characters. And then the eye color.
Oh, your
Eyes,
microphone's
and then
out
it became
again.
like green or brown. My
Yeah, it's
but-
fine now.
Oh, okay. So apparently then the character had like blue eyes in one book, and then much later on had like green eyes or brown eyes or something, right? So then what he's done is he has, and I'm sure that he pays them, but he has people who have done like the online encyclopedia of Game of Thrones, and he gives them an early draft of his book, like before he releases it, of his next book. And then what they do is they essentially fact check it. They fact check it to make sure that it's consistent with everything else that he said up until this point. And I'm saying that that's if George R.R. Martin, as just a sole individual author, can do this, saying, I know that I've got obsessed fans. I know that they will catch me if I make some kind of inconsistency in eye color or the sex of a horse. And these are meaningless things, and people will notice it. Then why the hell is Lucasfilm not doing the same thing? Why are they not getting a group of Star Wars fans? They throw them in a room and then they just say, okay, are we having errors in continuity by having anything in this episode? Are we having errors in the overall lore of Star Wars? Why are they not doing this?
Yeah.
They developed the Lucasfilm story group, who is supposed to be in charge of making sure that everything is consistent and falls in line. So clearly they're just not doing their job. That they're not as I don't know, that they don't know this series as well as fans, and it's just.
But I'm saying, like, this can't be real. Like, you cannot possibly, because I'm saying somebody like me, like the people on that group have they never watched Star Wars? I don't get it, because these are simple things to point out. Because I'm saying that George R.R. Martin realized this, that these are like, I'm saying that's how deep the inconsistencies are, like, to be able to find anything inconsistent in his work. And what he did is he just recruited those people. Like, that's, I think, the smartest thing to do is you say, okay, who's going to criticize me? All right, we'll take that person who is that obsessed and then promote them, and then say, all right, I'm going to pay you. Find errors in continuity in everything that I do from here on out to keep people like you, because you're probably the most obsessed person that I can find, and saying, like, that's a great thing instead of it being a bad thing. But I feel like Lucasfilm and Disney has just turned on the fans again and again and again. And when obsessed fans say, hey, we have a problem with this because, then Disney goes, you're the problem. You know?
And it's, I think the reason why you don't see them doing that is because Disney and Lucasfilm are so obsessed with preventing spoilers. That they don't want fans to know anything early. And, as much as I personally try to avoid spoilers, I'm part of that is because I know that there are obsessed people out there who, go after, will dig through absolutely everything to try to glean the tiniest bit of a spoiler of information that has not yet been revealed. I think that's what it is, and they just need to stop being so worried about it.
You're 100% correct, Tyler, and that really is it. And I think you're right that it does come down to the individual. It's sort of like, the kind of, like, you have two different kids. You've got, like, the kid who, knows, okay, there's Christmas presents in the house, but I'm not going to go and find them because I want to be surprised on Christmas morning because my parents, they care about me, and that's kind of the whole point of this is like the surprise element is fun, and you have to wait until the day of. And then you have the kids who are just like, I want to spoil everything. I want to know exactly what I have even before my parents buy it. You know what I mean? Sneaking onto, like, the bank account, looking to see, like, ooh, they went to this store today for a purchase of this amount, looking it up on, like, online. How much does that present cost? And I mean, like, you've got Star Wars fans like that, where they want it to be spoiled, and for whatever reason, and I'm not judging them, it's that I think that they enjoy that element of it.
Yeah.
just as much as you enjoy the element of being surprised on release day. And
Yeah.
it's just one of those things of like, hey, if you're going to make something, if you're going to be involved in $1 billion intellectual property like Star Wars, then why don't you have an appreciation for the diversity of your fans?
Yeah.
That some are going to want to treat this like a scavenger hunt. Some are going to want to try to figure out every little thing and all the little leaks, and it's perfectly fine if they do. If it doesn't spoil it, if like that's what they if they don't feel that it's spoiled by knowing what happens, then it's not spoiled for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And other people will shield themselves from it. Just let us as individuals figure out how we want to interact with this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Yeah.
Best episode in a little bit.
Yeah.
Still a lot of issues, but yeah.
Episode 7 is going to be better than episode 8. Deborah Chow is directing episode 7. She did episode 3, and that was the best one. You know, certainly one of the best ones of the season, and I thought that she did a great job.
Is Taika Waititi directing the last episode?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And,
alrighty.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
I quickly looked up his credits, and all that I see are comedies. They're good comedies.
Yeah.
But comedies, that's it. And so I'm like, you're going to give episode 8 to a comedy director? And I mean, to be fair, I can't remember. Oh, this is terrible that I can't remember the director's name. But the guy who directed Joker had only directed comedies up until that point. And then he did one of the best films of the decade. What's that?
Todd
Phillips. Yeah, Todd Phillips. Yeah, like he directed like The Hangover. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so it's like really, like this dude is gonna like do a very dark, gritty Joker film. Okay, and then you watch it, you're like, oh, okay, the dude definitely pulled it off. So maybe we'll be fine with episode 8.
I do think so, because like, I mean, we'll see. But Taika Waititi, I did like. I liked the ending of Thor Ragnarok because I don't really like. I didn't really. I don't know. I wasn't as excited about it as other people were for like most of the movie, but I like how he ended it, and I thought that there was a really good job of actually making there be, consequences, which I mean they went back on in the next movie, but that's not his fault.
Right.
So I'm like, I like how he ended it. So hopefully he's just good at making good endings, and like I really hope so, because then he's a perfect choice to do the last episode. And so wishful thinking, I guess, maybe, but
at the very least, the next 2 episodes were both written by Jon Favreau, who did write the first 3 episodes, as well as episode 4. So,
but he probably was like, you know what, this could be like the one filler episode. This will be like a 6
Disney said,
episode
let's bring in
thing.
a couple more writers
Yeah.
to do 2 more episodes in between.
And then it's just like, then we'll just throw those 2 more filler episodes after that 1 filler episode, and then there we go. And he's just probably like, oh, okay. I mean, sure, but I kind of had the whole story here.
Yeah.
As far as a release order of episodes 7 and 8, is it going is it changing? Is it not on Fridays anymore because of the Rise of Skywalker?
Yes. So chapter 7 is coming out on the 18th, which is Wednesday. And then chapter 8 won't be out until again the Friday. So so
the Friday, like the 27th?
Yeah.
So basically we'll watch episode 7, and then everybody's going to go and watch Rise of Skywalker for a week and a half, and then we'll get the last one of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll do our discussion on episode 7 soon, but basically we'll have that, and then after that, in between episodes 7 and 8, then there's going to be the Rise of Skywalker that gets released. I'm curious. I imagine the answer, like I know what your answer is going to be, but do you think there's going to be anything in episode 7, Rise of Skywalker, that's going to come back? Like, are they going to be interconnected at all? Like, I don't mean like interconnected in terms of plot, but I mean as far as like a character or a throwaway line, like because like, you've got a Baby Yoda creature, right?
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if there's going to be something to do with Baby Yoda in Rise of Skywalker.
My answer is I wish, but
Right.
I highly doubt it. Like I would love to see like we just like go into Rise of Skywalker and suddenly like it's like Baby Yoda, but he's older, and we're like, wait,
Right.
who is this character? Another Yoda character, and then it's just like it's Baby Yoda, and then everyone
Yeah.
would be like, whoa, like that'd be cool.
I'm convinced that they will do some kind of tie-in. If it is Baby Yoda, then he's going to be in the background of some
Yeah,
shot.
that's
of,
what I'm saying. It's going to be
you
a
know,
subtle little thing. You know,
Yeah.
I don't really like the term Easter egg, but it'll be like I think some kind of Easter egg because I don't know. I have to imagine. I think they'd be stupid not to try to tie them in.
Yeah.
In terms of the release date, where they're saying episode 7, the release date's going to change to allow for people to then go and see Rise of Skywalker, where they're going to have like a week and a half to go and see that. And then we're going to get episode 8. And to tie this into the overall Star Wars universe, that this is the first live action Star Wars show that we have. And so I think they'd be out of their minds if they don't do something. And it just has to be just a subtle little thing, like whether it's like, you know, Baby Yoda or I don't know what.
I mean, it could even just be Mando's ship in the background because they did that for Rogue One.
Yeah.
They included the ship from Rebels.
The Ghost, which was pretty cool, and they had the droid from it like just go by the screen like once. So I was like, oh, okay. Like so like subtle references like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in Rise of Skywalker, but like I kind of wish there was like a little more. Like I would love to see like older Baby Yoda in like an actual scene.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe because J.J. Abrams, you know, up until like a few weeks ago, said that it was not done.
Yeah.
That Rise of Skywalker was not done. So maybe they were trying to figure out what they could put in from The Mandalorian. And so they still needed to do that.
Yeah, it could be
so insane, but it could totally be.
Yeah. So we'll see. You guys can tell me.
Well, I mean, Tyler, I don't have any plans to go see it yet.
I can't believe that.
I would have bought my ticket or would have had plans to buy my ticket anyway. But unless someone is like, hey, I'm going to see Star Wars, do you want to come with? But I don't have any plans right now to see it, and I don't really want to. But if someone asks and they're like, oh, come on, and like just we'll have fun to go see it, and I'll be like, fine. But yeah,
and
so far no
you
plan.
to go see it.
And Tyler, you're going when?
I am going on the 19th. That is the release date in Canada. Haha, US. So I am seeing it on Thursday. And it will be a premiere screening, meaning that I will get a collector's pin as well.
Oh, good.
As well as I think they said like small popcorn or something, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Well, you get to tell us all about it.
Oh, absolutely.
You're gonna grab the pen and throw it behind your shoulder, and then just walk right by them.
Like a Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, just grab the pen and throw it behind you. And
pin,
then
not pen, but pin.
Okay.
We'll see what I think of Rise of Skywalker. If it involves any kind of time travel or anything, then I probably will.
Yeah.
I'll try to sell it on eBay right away so that I can just like get rid of it, but people will pay me a huge amount of money for it. So if you see
if there's time travel though with the Emperor, then that's how they could tie into the Mandalorian. That this is Yoda.
Yes.
He goes back in time like 800 years. Right? Or him from 800 years ago as a baby got projected into the future, and then he goes back or something to like, so that way as a baby he sees exactly what's happening, and it's like, that's how he has got so much insight into everything that's going on.
Yeah. Do you guys think
Yeah.
that there will be some line from Yoda saying that that he once had a child or something, and then we're like, whoa, it's Baby Yoda.
Right, there we go. That could
Ghost
happen.
Yoda could be like, oh yes, I once had a child, and then we're all just like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Like,
I was young and wild. 810 I was. Because that's how old he would have been, right? Something
Yeah.
like 800 years old when he would have had this thing.
yeah.
And the
My
and the-
college years.
And the incredibly casual fans who have not seen The Mandalorian will be like, is he talking about Rey? Is Rey his daughter?
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's end it there, and then we'll obviously have lots more to say with episode 7, and hopefully we can get that released before Rise of Skywalker comes out.
Yep, hopefully.
All right, folks. Well, feel free to comment on anything that we mentioned below, any thoughts or questions that you have, and like and subscribe and share and all of that. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Ignore the bell, people. We're gonna keep going. We're still ignoring it. Don't worry. I don't know what that. I think that's the fire drill. All right. We're gonna go home. Yeah. All right. We're done.